All, it's Piotr. This time a movie about X-Men X-Cutioner song, one of my favorite stories about mutants all around, not only about X-Men but about X-Force, X-Factor. It was prepared for a lot of time. It was a time when founders of Image Comics left Marvel. So what can we have in this great story, 12-part story, plus epilogue? I will show you. Let's check on the back cover. This is great over here and on the back. Here is about creators and what is inside. Inside is Uncanny X-Men 294, 297, X-Factor 84, 86, X-Men 14, 16, X-Force 16, 18, and additionally Stryfe strike file. Creators, as we can see, is Scott Lobdell, Peter David, and Fabian Nicela. For illustration, Brandon Peterson, Jay Lee, Andy Kubert, and Greg Capullo. I will show you what is on the cover. Here is a story about what is going on, who are the enemies. I will show you this. This is great here. It's by Jay Lee. It's beautiful, created here. Here we have Wolverine, Normal X. Here about creators. Let's go inside the store. Inside we can find about, again, creators of this big story. Peter David was for X-Factor, Scott Lobdell for Uncanny X-Men, and Fabian Nicela was for X-Men and X-Force. Introduction by Fabian Nicela. But you can see they were planning to, for the future story, that Magneto will just rip out Wolverine skeleton, or in some way he will come back during this story. But of course, you can see here there was a lot of heroes and villains here. Little bit backstory. Why I love this story? It's a story about true X-Men, who they are, their enemies, and how they fight together side by side, even if they're at first time there's some difference between them. It was created for a couple of months, so They were preparing for it, so X-Force will be hunted down. Cyclops thinking about Betsy Braddock. And so it begins. Great art in whole album, I can say that for sure. Here's the shot that takes down Professor Xavier. We have riders, Horsemen of Apocalypse. We have Dark Riders. We have Mr. Sinister. We have Apocalypse. So a lot of going on. The new mysterious Stryfe that was for a couple of months fighting with Cable and his X-Force. You know, I love the X-Factor, especially for pencils by Daily. It's great that he created art for those numbers. Archangel that is preparing to go against Apocalypse that created him, in that way of course, metal wings. We have X-Force against X-Men. X-Factor was with a bit of humor from Peter David. It was a great addition to this complex story. Stryfe was preparing everything from the beginning to have his revenge against his family, his parents. And here is the Mr. Sinister, that he was acting as like Apocalypse to gather Scott and Jen. Fabian Itzel was writing X-Men and X-Force. Here are the Dark Riders waiting for a wake of their leader, Master Apocalypse. Cable coming back to present to see that someone shot the Xavier, and he sees that it was him. How is it possible? And of course now we have Sinister that is giving up who is behind this whole mystery. After receiving what he had from Stryfe. What he asked from Stryfe, yeah. And so it begins. Accuse who is the Stryfe. Here is the battle between X-Force and X-Men. And they surrender to combined force of X-Factor and X-Men. Betsy is ready to finish what the bullet from Stryfe started, if it's not solved the help for Xavier. And here starts the torture of Jean Grey by Stryfe. In psychological level it was a great story. Step by step, to comprehend who is the Stryfe, what is his connection. And now we have the trio: Cable, Bishop, Wolverine. How can this not be a great story? It must be, if we have those trio here. And X-Men with X-Force free for a moment. They're starting to hand down Stryfe by looking for Mutant Liberation Front. And Apocalypse is starting to get who is Cable and why he used his technology. Mutant Liberation Front is going down. And this time the torture of Cyclops by Stryfe. This is great art here. Andy Kubert at Psylocke in her position. And again, Stryfe is watching all the pieces falling where exactly he wished to be. Watching everything, preparing for everything. And now it begins the fight with Apocalypse. And the Apocalypse escapes. Even he has a blade through his chest. He starts to comprehend who is his enemy. In the meantime, our trio is trying to find the Cyclops and Jean Grey. And Cable tells them the story about Stryfe, who is he, where he comes from, and that he knows that the mask is his face, but why he don't know. X-Men and Apocalypse are working together. This is great part about Child, that Stryfe tells them that if they want the kid to be alive, this kid, they need to do something. But of course it's not a real child. Later it's revealed that it was false kid with a little bit of memory or psi trait of Stryfe inside this technological creation. But Jean Grey and Scott do otherwise that the enemy would think. And that is the moment that Stryfe realized that maybe something was wrong with his opinion about his parents, let's tell it that way. And this is beautiful when they realize Bishop, Cable and Wolverine that they are on the moon. I love this picture here. Daily, it's great. This one is great too. Everything is connected. And here is how Apocalypse helps to help the professor to be whole again and Stryfe again. Try to do something with Cyclops and Jean Grey. This is the end of the bullet. It was techno-organic bullet, so that is the only way that Apocalypse was the only person on Earth that can help it to remove. And the time for fight begins. And in a moment there will be a fight between Apocalypse and his Dark Riders, the survivor of the fittest. And so it begins to the death. Xavier wakes up, screaming that he knows what is the connection. Havoc and other team members comes with Cable to try to solve the final mystery on the moon. Here we are in the final stage of conflict. It's time bomb that he was planning to use. Stryfe, of course. Cable confronts Stryfe and Stryfe tells him that he is the clone and that Stryfe is the real child of Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers. And at long last, Archangel and Apocalypse have the fight, at least the conversation. Cable orders Cyclops to press the detonator that will move both him and Stryfe out of this time. And they start to realize who Cable was. And this is, as it started with Mr. Sinister, it finished with him. As he opens the canister with, it should have the material of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, but it turns out that Stryfe gave Mr. Sinister the legacy virus that will kill a lot of mutants. This is something that was never before printed in albums. It's Songs Ends epilogue. Because of this techno-organic bullet, the Xavier can walk for a he don't know moment, hour, he don't know, but he had spent it with Jubilee. In the meantime, Gambit and Roach had a conversation. It's the funny moment when Xavier tells her that where his last will is if they don't survive this game they are doing right now. It's very emotional issue, and it ends with Xavier coming back to wheelchair. What else? Here is the secret CD file that Bishop gave to Xavier, taking it from his base on Moon. It's about all the players in this story, about future players even, stories that did not happen yet, like later Holocaust here. And about Psylocke and Revenge, who they are, if they have time to discover it. About Iliana, Wanda and Pietro, Wolverine, Bishop, Creed, Forge, Moira McTaggart. So this is a little bit you can say about the future, what holds by Stryfe. It's very interesting to read about it. But Xavier decided that he won't give that info to Cyclops and Jen, and he erased the CD. Additionally, we have here trading cards that were in every issue of X-Cutioner song. And then we have this Marvel 8, X-Men, the Fall crossover, the Animal series. What were the plans? How it went? And what future holds for the mutants? If you want to read a great story about X-Men, a lot of teams, not only about main X-Men, but about X-Force, X-Factor, then you have this one. It's a great epic story that has an epilogue that will, for a lot of years into the future, with legacy virus. It's great team story with great art. I love it from the beginning when I saw it on comic books, but I really love this album and I'm coming back to it very often. So if you have a possibility, buy it, because it's one of those stories that will take a long time to go to that kind of crossover between all of the X titles. Next, I think it will be the X-Men Second Coming, a lot years later. So this story is pure fun for me, so I hope that you will buy it and read it and have fun as me.